In this module, you'll learn how to edit videos using text alone and create AI voices, all with a powerful AI tool called Descript. We'll first introduce the tool, looking at its key features and how much it costs to go pro. Then we'll explore Descript's easy-to-use editing capabilities by cutting through a video with text edits. And then we'll take that very video and create shorts out of it with their built-in feature, Underlore. And then we'll play around with some voices, cloning our very own voice to use for the future. Once you finish this module, you'll be able to create, edit, and repurpose video and audio faster than ever before, never looking at those long drawn-out editing sessions again. Once you finish this module, you'll be able to create, edit, and repurpose video and audio faster than ever before. And so with that being said, it's time to get started. Descript is an all-in-one audio and video editing platform, which is designed to simplify the overall content creation process. There's so many tools for editing podcasts, videos, and transcripts, and it allows you to work with text-based audio and video editing seamlessly. They have features like automatic transcription, screen recording, multi-track editing, and so many AI-powered features implemented in it. It's going to make your video and audio editing process that much easier. As of recording this video, Descript comes with 3 primary pricing plans: the hobbyist, the creator, and business. Now, if you're paying monthly, then the hobbyist goes for $19 per month, the creator for $35 per month, and business at $50 per month. But of course, if you pay annually, then this price goes down slightly, and it would amount to essentially $12 per month for the hobbyist, creator being at $24 per month, and then business going for $40 per month. But of course, you're paying annually here. Now, the main differences between each plan is the amount of transcription hours you get. So you can see with the hobbyist, you only get 10 transcription hours per month, with the creator and business being slightly more. You also have the ability to export in 1080p or 4K, as well as the fact that with the more upper tier plans, you get more minutes of AI speech, as well as access to royalty-free stock library of videos, images, and more. Descript does come at a free cost, so you can actually play around with the platform. But like any other kind of app out there, of course, the free version is going to be slightly limited in what you can do. As soon as you log into Descript, you're going to be welcomed to this interface here. So on the left, you have your main menu, so you can go through your different projects that you've created. You have some quick recordings, so any recordings that you've done will show up here. You can also explore their Descript Academy, which will give you some tutorials on how to use their specific features. But of course, if you're watching this video, you'll get some tips on how to go about leveraging Descript itself. You also have access to their AI speakers, so you can create new speakers. We'll talk about a video on this separately. And then you have templates where you can create your own template for a video so that you don't need to always reuse or redo things with every new video, as well as your different workspaces that you can create folders and projects within. All the way at the top, you have your little info box where you can look at your help centers, look at different keyboard shortcuts that you want to get familiar with. Also, just as a quick note, if you do Command K for Mac and Control K for Windows, you can search things up quickly instead of having to go all the way up at the top here. So whatever exists in your Descript library, you can search that there. So when it comes to creating a new project on Descript, you have the option to choose between a video or audio project. Let's start with video because Descript is well known for its video editing capabilities. Now you have the option to name your project. Let's call this testing, and you can upload a video file directly, or you even have the option to paste a video link, especially if you have YouTube, and just work with that. You also have some options to be able to write your AI speech directly or just record You have some more options like import from Zoom, but because I do have a default video that I've gone with Adobe Premiere, I upload it and immediately it will give me an option to choose which language I want to have the transcription in. Considering this video is in English, I will choose English and I'll hit transcribe. And then you have the option to then choose from different AI voices or custom voices you've created in the past. But considering that I don't have any, I'll just press done here and I will get straight to this. And voila, like that, it's done. So the way that Descript really works and the great power that it has is that you can just get an area that you don't want and you can choose to delete it. You'll notice that the video has been edited just from text alone. Now, traditionally, for people that are more used to the timeline view, Descript does often you can sort of edit your text transcript like this, but Descript works off of the text editing capabilities, so this is what makes it super powerful. Now, one of the powerful things about Descript is that you can do a lot of different AI features, which they have housed under the term Underlord. And here you have all of these options you'll notice that you can choose from. Of course, you do need a higher plan to be able to do more with this. That's why a lot of this is in purple. One cool thing I like is this eye contact feature, where if you hit that, then it'll essentially get the person, the subject, to be looking at the camera. And then you have your repurpose features, so you can create clips out of these long form videos, as well as write more to the script itself and get it to extend on that. So I may have mentioned this previously in another video, but Underlord is Descript's AI powerhouse. So this can help you do a lot from enhancing audio, which I go into in a later part of the class, as well as adding eye contact forms or getting rid of the background if you want to add a green screen, and there's so much more. So some things that you can do with Underlord is just be able to create clips out of your long form video. Now in this case, with the example that I'm showing here, it's only a 57-second video anyway, so I'm just going to create a clip and I'll go for one clip only that's about 15 seconds. I can choose my layout and I can choose to give Underlord a little bit more context. If that's not the case, I can just press submit and I can wait for it to create a clip. Now it's already done this by giving me a 14:7 clip. I can choose to see what the clip looks like by clicking on it and just check it out.
It tells the story of Jesse Brown, the U.S. Navy's first black aviator, and the friendship that formed between him and his wingman, Tom Hudner, at the onset of the Korean War.
And if I choose to accept it, I can just press done, and right there, I already have a clip for my project. But also, if you want to find out specific highlights of your video, if it's a 1 hour long video on a specific given subject, you can try to find the highlights. So if I try to find highlights here, I can say, okay, give me the highlights of this whole video. And then what it's going to end up doing is highlighting all the key moments of your video that Underlord feels is the best. And you can kind of take this suggestion, but this just gives you a little bit more of awareness of where the key moments in that video is. And so the longer the video, the better. So you can press done, now accept that. And then further on, you can use to translate, but this will require a higher priced plan when it comes to using Descript. And so this is if you're going to be translating your videos into multiple different languages, and this is super useful for that as well. To take things a little bit further, you can also use Underlord when it comes to getting ideas for your video title or getting YouTube descriptions or even drafting social media posts. Just to show you a little bit of an example here, I'll say, give me a YouTube description. The more examples and context you give it, the better output that it'll produce. For now, if I just leave this blank, I'll just submit it, and it's giving me a quick little YouTube description for this video that I can just copy and paste into my YouTube. And so there's not limited descriptions, as you can see, titles, summarizations, even show notes. You can turn this even into a blog post if you don't have it already. So these are just some of the powerful features of Underlord, and I do recommend playing around with each of them when you have the time. Now, if we're looking at the right side of the menu, this is where you can just edit your video and add different elements to your video directly from. So Underlord we explored earlier in terms of looking at all the different AI features you'll have. You can also look at your projects, where is this housed under, and then find different assets that you've uploaded. You can all get them from here. You can also look at your scene. So this looks at the individual scene here and play around with the duration, as well as if you want to add a background to it, or you want to add some effects. Let's say if I want to pixelate the video, if I hit pixelate, you'll notice the video has become pixelated. If I want to add a couple film grain, I can do so as well. Slightly notice there's a film grain. So let's say if I toggle this off, the film grain is gone. And then you can also adjust zoom blur like so. You can play around with the different effects that they have, and then I can add transitions. So how you want your transitions to go. Do you want to do a star wipe, a blur, a cross zoom? And then if you will go deeper into this, then you have the actual layer itself where you can switch around the opacity. You can also play around with the height and width of each video as well. And then add a border if you want, and perhaps even adds a couple of extra effects to the layer individually. And then you have record, where you can record your voice into the video. And then you have elements where you can add shapes and lines or rings. And then you can add captions to your video, and it's going to play around with that as well.
My dad was a naval aviator, 30 years behind Jesse. So when I first read the script, I kind of found myself.
And so this is a really quick way to add captions to your videos. And then finally, you can add stock libraries. So stock images, GIFs, stock videos, backgrounds, and a whole plethora of things. Now, some of them on the free plan, there's going to be some options you can choose from, but there are others that you notice there's this lock here. You need to upgrade it in order to get that full access. So this really, I find to be quite useful when it comes to using Descript, because instead of having to go through other stock video platforms and download the asset itself, you have the library directly here. So a whole lot of things you can do on Descript just from clicking and plugging it in and making your editing that much easier. Now, when it comes to using any platform, knowing the shortcut keys definitely does help to improve your workflow. So I'm just going to go through just a couple of shortcuts that are pretty crucial in Descript. So the first one would be creating scenes. So you see on the left, these are all your scenes right now. Originally, the video was just a single scene. So in that single scene, it'll show and go through the entire transcript. But let's say if I want to split this into separate scenes, then all I have to do is hit backslash and it's created a separate scene. Let's say this part right here, we'll go into the next sentence. This one was, I want to be a separate scene as well. I hit voila, and it creates another scene. You can kind of split it up into paragraphs if you want, or you can keep it there. Just know that the backslash indicates a new scene. Let's say you want to play through, but you want to skip ahead. You might think clicking is going to do the job, but what you want to do is hold down Alt and then click.
Whether that was a lady or 30 or
Alt click. Other way you can do this is also shift and space. So let's say I highlight this, shift and space. The only difference with the shift and space method is you do have to highlight a specific word, while the Alt and click method is just you click a specific area and it'll play that. And then two more other ones for you is if you hold down X and you hit a word, you'll notice this little icon that shows up. This switches the punctuation. So let's say you want it to be a comma instead, then I just hold down X and click, and it'll become a comma or a period or nothing. So this switches the different punctuations that are there. As well, if you hold down C and click, and you'll get this option where you can correct the word itself. Perhaps when it was transcribing something, the word didn't come out that properly. So that way you can switch this for later when you're doing captioning, it'll actually have the correct word. Now, keep in mind, this will not switch the actual audio. It just switches up the actual word in itself. You can also do this by clicking over the word itself and hitting correct. And then finally, if you want a little bit more access to more shortcuts, go do Command K or Control K on Descript and then just type in shortcuts. You'll have the search bar here. And if you hit keyboard shortcuts, you have a whole list of shortcuts you can learn and play around with. And you can even have this open while you're working with Descript. Now, when it comes to using AI voices on Descript, it's really simple. For most part, every transcript you'll see, you'll have a section right above that allows you to say add speakers. So right now, I've actually added an AI speaker here. If you click this, you'll see it says AI. But oftentimes, I'll just say add speaker. And from this point, you can either choose to browse one of the stock AI speakers that they provide or add one that you've recorded yourself. So in this case, I chose Alex. Let's look at it.
Light a camera. Just focus on what's important. Capture the good.
And so right now,
Augmented reality, AR, overlays digital content onto the real world, enhancing the user's perception of their surroundings.
so you notice that right now it's Alex, but I can always switch between different voices. Let's say I want to go with, and if I hit that, then moving forward, it's going to start training this speech with Dolores. And so this often, depending on how long your transcript is, this can take a couple of minutes, but just because this transcript is relatively short, it'll be done within a few seconds as I speak. So now it's already done, and let's say if I play it.
Augmented reality, AR overlays digital content onto the real world, enhancing the user's perception of their surroundings. AR uses a combination of cameras, sensors, and algorithms to detect the physical environment.
And so you can play around with different AI voices. So let's say if you want to just create a project where you have a transcript, you don't have any voiceovers done from yourself, but you want to add an AI voice to it. So you can just get started with copying, pasting your transcript into Descript itself. Just add an AI voice and voila, you already have a voiceover done for you. But if you want to take this a little bit further, and let's say you want to create your own voice, you can go into speakers and then you can record your own voice itself. So let's create one called Addie. And of course, you do have to give authorization that your voice can be used, but we'll play around with this right now. So I'll record this. So you see there, you can listen to it back again, or let's say I press submit, and this is going to take a couple of minutes just to submit and authorize the voice. So just give it a few minutes right here. And voila, you can already see your custom voices there. Still loading and processing just a little bit. It just takes a few minutes, not even, maybe up to 2 to 3 minutes usually, depending on, but voila, like there. And now moving forward, going back to here, if I want to use my own voices, so let's refresh this page, and then my own voice should be selectable. Boom. And so if I press Addie, now the text itself will be trained off of my voice, and let's see how well it came out. This is going to be a bit creepy, but let's try this. So let's play this.
Augmented reality AR overlays digital content onto the real world, enhancing the user's perception of their surroundings. AR uses a combination of cameras, sensors, and algorithms to detect the physical environment and project virtual information. Unlike VR, which immerses users in a completely digital environment, Arkansas integrates virtual elements with the real world.
So you notice here that it wasn't actually able to distinguish that this is called AR and VR. Instead, it just tries to pronounce it entirely by itself. And these are things that you may need to adjust, maybe perhaps separate like spelling like this, or sometimes you can even adjust the pronunciation in itself. But this just gives you an idea of what you can do with the audio features on Descript when it comes to cloning your own voice or just using the existing voices that are there provided by you by Descript. So another quick tip when it comes to modifying your audio through Descript is you can adjust its volume and fine-tune the way that the overall volume pans out throughout the whole audio. But just going into timeline view, and here you'll see the overall wave file, and let's start playing it. So if I start playing here, what I can do is I can hit Alt on my Mac, or on PC it should be the same, and then you can just choose a specific location. So if I choose it to be here, then the audio as a whole, you see this linear line, it will take the volume up to that point. A little bit 10 decibel reading from generating music and sound effects to creating synthetic voices, or if I maybe want to make it a little bit low, music and sound effects to creating synthetic voice. If I wanted to kind of go from a lower volume all the way up to a higher cadence, then I can do the same thing, hold down Alt and click, and then now there are two different points.
And from generated music and sound effects to creating synthetic voices for virtual assistants.
The way that it works is that, so you notice there is a slight increase in volume over that period of time. You can sort of play around with this. This becomes super useful when it comes to editing music as well. If you're going to be using the AI features, or otherwise known as Underlord, you can improve your audio in many ways. So for example, you can edit the overall script for clarity, and choose between how heavy you want to make the clarity across the audio file. So let's say in this case, I'll just make it medium. I can submit this, and I'll start looking through my transcript and pointing out areas where it can actually delete these points. I can listen to each specific point, and if I want to discard all edits, I can just press X here, and now all of these specific points will not be playing. So I will test out.
Sound effects to creating synthetic voices for virtual assistants.
So you can see that it sort of got rid of certain points that it felt was either redundant or not that clear to the overall script. And so this can make my overall audio file sound a lot better as well, and can, instead of just me deleting word by word and going through the script on my own. Another interesting feature that I've mentioned earlier, the studio sound. So you can see this is the raw file of an audio for my other class called AI Creation. So if I want to make the studio sound, all I do is click studio sound. I can adjust the different audio decibels, but if I just wanted to move forward, it will just start training it until it's finished. And if I just listen to it,
everything from generating music and sound effects to creating synthetic voices for virtual assistants.
So I don't know if you can hear it on my recording, but it sounds a lot more clear compared to the earlier, which had some sort of a muffled echo. You can also remove filler words, which I've showed in an earlier video. And this is slightly similar to editing for clarity, but editing for clarity is more about just the fluidity of the overall script, while filler words are just focused on ums and ahs that might be included within your script. So if I were to remove the filler words, I can see that it's detected a couple of them. I can find all filler words, so I can then just remove all, and it'll completely erase all of those filler words for me right there. Just make sure to double check if those filler words are meant to be ignored or removed, because you don't want to be removing anything that's too important as well. And also finally, you can shorten word gaps across the board. There weren't anything that was detected on this side, just because most of the audio is just being spoken at a relatively similar pace. But sometimes if there are long pauses and gaps between one thing to another, this is where shortening the word gaps would help. You can also choose to add chapters across your audio file, and this depends on how you want to organize it. So if I want to press submit, and now it gives me a suggestion on how I would distribute this into different chapters. And so I can choose to add to the script and add different timestamps, or then I can just press done. So I can add this to the script, so it tells me exactly where I'm doing this. I can add timestamps to it, press done, and good to go. So this will help organize your overall transcript much faster as well. So in this case, this audio file is only 2 minutes long, so it's not going to be too much of a difference. But especially for podcasts, this becomes super useful, because you'll be able to create chapters within your audio transcript or audio file much faster than going through the whole transcript itself and having to create the chapters on your own.